And with more, 2, 1. Hello, and I am Donna Drake, and hopefully you are able to hear and see me. If so, raise your hand. I can't see you, but I'm hoping that you can see and hear me. And if not, if you could maybe even like text something or text something to Adam or Lula, because we're here in the studio. Now, usually I wouldn't have all these papers here, but I do because I was getting ready. I was still writing some notes. But this thing I definitely don't want to start with. It is actually the Poland Springs label off of my water bottle. So one of the first things that we're going to be learning about in media training is the environment that you're in. So why would it be important for me if I was on camera to get rid of the Poland Springs water label? Well, unless they're paying you $5,000 or $10,000 to promote them, you don't want to have any type of product or labels or anything on your shirt that aren't, necessarily things that you just don't want to get in any trouble. So let's say I did this and I had the Poland Springs label on this bottle, and then they said, oh, you know what? We didn't give you permission to use our product in your show. Then you'd have to take your content down. So it's just better to be aware. So that's a good place for us to start. So we're going to start with our environment. And for those of you that do not know me, I am Donna Drake. I have a strategic tied-in relationship with Mike Cave and the entire tied-in media team. I have for a long, long time. And I actually was the person that when they decided to build the studio, they called upon me to ask me to help. So I feel like I'm actually sitting here in our collective new baby. And if you haven't been here yet, we look forward to seeing you next week for your awards presentation. So with that being said, so Poland Spring bottle, I'm just going to throw this over to my assistant, Giovanna. Giovanna, woo! Okay. And so the first thing is the environment. So here we are, Ken's saying this, water bottle, move it because it's in my way, right? So I'm talking to my director who's behind the camera, that's Ken Bogart. And so we're here at this new set, and what do we look for? We look for the overall aesthetic of the image that we're sending to somebody at home. And it's called the rule of lower thirds. So the rule of lower thirds, or the rule of thirds is this. There's about this much space above my head, if Ken has me framed correctly. There's about this much space in the middle, and there's about this much space in the lower area. Why? Because when you're getting ready to do some type of media, or when you're creating videos for yourself, you want to be able to have room down the road in editing to do what they call a lower third, which is to put somebody's name or information across their body. And it's also very pleasing to your eye. Same rule of thirds go with this. It should, right now, I should be kind of centered. It should be boom, boom, and boom. Now, we made an artistic decision that I would be in the middle of the KW Elite logo. Like I should be like maybe over the eye. Sometimes we're going to have you framed and your whole logo will be at the top. You don't have to worry about that. But the one thing that you have to be aware of, see when I go like this, is that you can see the whole logo, right? So using the lower third here and giving yourself enough headroom. So when you're doing something in media and you're doing it at home yourself, that's just a simple tip that you want to remember is the rule of thirds and your environment, making sure you don't have any logos or something that don't pertain to you or to your brand. The other important thing about your environment is lighting. You want to have good, even lighting. So right now in this studio, it's perfect. We created it to be that way. But if you're at home and you're trying to do a media thing yourself, you want to make sure that there's enough light on your subject as well as light behind you. If there's a window behind me, we would be shutting the blinds. Ken, is there anything else you think about that in terms of lighting? Just to be well lit, right? To be evenly lit. So that talks a little bit in your posture. We're going to be talking about that, about whether you're going to sit and whether you're going to stand and what you should wear and if you should have makeup on and all those things, how to talk in a sound bite. So today, because this training is going to be specifically for you and for your awards presentation, we're going to be covering a few things just to kind of help you get relaxed and excited so that you can do your best, right? So like any class. I'm excited to have you there and our viewing audience at home as well as here. So I welcome you. And I know we have somebody coming in around 10 minutes late, which is fine. Okay, so all these papers that I was doing to research the things, just so I could remember to talk to you about all the important things, you don't have to read this. I'm going to just give you the bullet points of what you need to know. Okay, so media training. What to wear. We're going to talk about what to wear. So it goes back to the environment. If I were going to be sitting on a black sofa today, would I be wearing this? No. You want, if you can, and you know ahead of time where you're going to be interviewed or what the environment's going to be or what the temperature is going to be if you're working on something outdoors, it's important to dress appropriately so that you pop off the background. It's not so much if I'm wearing the latest fashion. It's all about the image that you're painting for the audience and the viewer at home. So no logos, if you can avoid logos. Normally I would say no solid black, no solid white, and no solid red. But I don't have to worry about that anymore because cameras have adopted the ability to adapt for that. But what I will tell you, especially for females and even for men, is that if you're going to wear, try to not wear white. And a lot of times the bright lights are going to make your fabric translucent. And, and it's happened. So I can't tell you how many times. So if you're going to wear a bra, then you could choose something in a nude color, or if you're going to wear white, wear white. But the combination that works, that never works, is having on a black bra and a white shirt. It's just horrendous. And I learned that lesson with a friend of mine the hard way during a talent competition that I was doing in high school. And there was this beautiful woman, and she was there, and she wore something black that was sheer with a white bra, and when those theater lights hit, it just was uncomfortable. So that's one thing that's important that a lot of times people won't tell you. You're thinking, oh, I'm gonna wear my newest outfit that I got in my closet, and I love the way it looks on me, but you're not dressing to impress people that you're going to a party. You're dressing to have something appropriate that's gonna look good on television. So that's a big thing on media. So that's one point that a lot of times people will not tell you. Also, jackets that have too much busy pattern in them, solids are always your best choice. And then nothing that has pinstripes, unless you play for the Yankees, and then that's okay. So there are some exceptions to the rules. But if not, then you want to avoid anything that has a pattern. Even these pillows are nice, but if I started going like this, right, it makes you dizzy, right? Nobody wants to see that. And our friend Adam, who's here, decided that he likes the stripes going this way better than this way, right? So it's about environments, and it's about what to wear and how you can best dress. Also comfortable. So I'm 5'1½", and I'm comfortable in my heels when I'm standing up to do a presentation. But not everybody's going to be comfortable, so wear comfortable clothing, wear comfortable shoes, nothing too tight. So this is like nice and flowy, right? So I have on these like cute, they're almost like spandex pants and just a flowy top, right? It just will behoove you to wear comfortable clothes so that when you're comfortable, your presentation is comfortable, you're able to breathe and to relax. Welcome.
Hi,
are you O'Connor, O'Donnell, O'Donnell?
Yes.
Welcome, O'Donnell. We're welcoming somebody here. And welcome to everyone at home. So Adam, who do we see at home I should be waving to? Is Suzanne there? Who's there?
Suzanne, Susan, Sal, Matt, Debbie.
Matt, Debbie, Sal, Chris, who else?
And then we got 516-212-2283 on the line.
I love that person, 516.
Very interesting name.
Okay, very interesting name. But everybody at home, welcome. So you can see me, I can't see you, but I just want you to know that you're just as important and just as present. So we're talking about the environment. So what you missed is the environment, making sure that you don't have any logos or labels or anything like that. And then dressing so that you're not really dressing to impress like you'd go to a party. You're dressing in a comfortable way that's going to look best on camera. So I knew that I was going to be against the sofa, so I purposely didn't wear my red outfit. I have the same outfit in red, but I didn't wear it in red. Even though Keller Williams is red, and I might have wanted to wear something nice and in red, Maybe if I was a gentleman and I want to wear a red tie, no problem. A red accessory, okay. But you try not to clash with the environment, that if you at all can know ahead of time what you're going to be doing. And even on my own television show, we have these blue tiger stripe sofas on my set. So I always tell people ahead of time, you don't really want to wear an animal print on the animal print. It just could clash to somebody at home. Okay, so that's what to wear. So now we're moving on. Oh, and what you missed is all these thick, big papers underneath the table. You don't have to read that. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know in that thick, gigantic book that I wrote right here. Sound good?
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Makeup. Okay. Should you wear makeup? Should you not wear makeup? Yes. Why? Because your face is three-dimensional, and the television and the media, any type of video, is going to make it two-dimensional. It's going to look flat, like Flat Stanley. How many people know who Flat Stanley is? Flat Stanley? Okay. Flat Stanley is a character in a children's book, and he's just completely flat. And then he gets mailed from zip code to zip code. And but the point is your face. So when I walked in here today, I had my hair up in a ponytail that was like half up, half down. I had on absolutely no makeup, and I had on just my everyday clothes, my big boots that were kind of dirty from like the salt. And so I brought, you know, cute shoes, right? So any type of shoe wear is fine. Like I said, I'm good in heels. Some people aren't good in heels. You want a cute pair of flats. That's fine. And going back to makeup. So my lips, if you can see my lips, right? If you wear, even men, if you wear some type of color on your lips, your teeth are going to look much brighter and much whiter. So I like to use, before shoot day, I use Crest White Strips. They seem to work well for me. It's not an endorsement by any matter. I'm just telling you all the inside tips that I personally use because I think they might be helpful to you. So always try to brush your teeth. You know, you don't want like a poppy seed stuck in your tooth or something like that. Hopefully you have a good camera person that will be kind enough to you to tell you if you got schmutz, you know, or if you got a boogie in your nose or something like that. But if you don't, you just want to look from your top of your head, and your face has 7 different planes, okay? So the way a human's face is constructed, you have this here, your nose, right, your lip, and if you go under, you even have this that goes back, and then your chin. So I was in a car accident. So if any of you are worried about having the double chin and all that kind of stuff, right? What I usually do, and I do it a little more than I did today, is you're gonna take a darker color, like a little brown foundation or a brown blush, and you're just going to make a nice, like just push it right here, a little bit here, maybe a little bit here and here, right? So if you're worried about if your face is too flat, and you want to be able to look good on the camera, that's what I suggest. So from your forehead, right, and your nose, this whole ridge right here might have a little bit of a shine. If so, there's translucent powder, and you could just powder those areas. So red lips, not bright red lips. It could be any tiny little bit of color, but if you, during the winter time, your lips will turn like a white ash sometimes, right? So any little bit of color is good, right? And if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. And nothing with a high gloss. Why? Why do you not want to wear things that are glittery or glossy on camera? Because the camera will read that, and it's gonna look like you have like white lights like shooting out of your face, right? Or your eyes, because media training, when it comes to the way that you do makeup, it's a little different than what you would wear on an everyday thing. And it's also in theater a little bit heavier, right? So I wouldn't normally go to the grocery store. Well, me, I don't usually wear any makeup when I go to the grocery store, but you should always wear something on your lips, and you should always do mascara on your eyes. Okay, so for both men and women, just a nice translucent powder to de-shine yourself. Especially if you're bald. Bald is beautiful, but the lights here, you'd end up having lights coming like straight out. Now for me, even with my hair, I have thin hair. I'm 55 years old. I've always had this baby fine, crazy hair. So sometimes I'll take a little bit of eyeshadow and I'll just go along my hairline for the exact same reason. So these are just like tricks, you know, I've been in media for 25 years, so I used to say 20. I'm just going to go back to 20 because 25 makes me seem too old. 20. Okay, but so from the head down. So your hair, you don't have to wash your hair right before you do an interview. You know, day-old hair is good. 2-day-old hair, not good. Why? You have too much of a greasy shine in anybody's hair, right? And that's too reflective. So clean hair or day-old hair. If you are bald, powder your head. If you have a hairline, just put a little eyeshadow in it. Translucent powder, and I'm not talking about the expensive stuff. You don't have to go buy Bobbi Brown, although I love Bobbi Brown. You know, just cheap stuff, $2.97, okay? That you, even in the compact, pop, 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 powder, powder, powder. A nice color on your lip, and then contouring your face, you're going to put a little darkness here. Sometimes I'll put a little bit on the tip of, a little brown on the tip of my nose, just so that my nose, right, isn't like flat, it's dimensional. A little bit of something here. Most important are your eyes. Most important, especially if you're a female, you're going to make a darker eyebrow for yourself, and you're going to put a light color up on the top and then any color on your lid. Because your eyes are the windows to your soul. And it's not as important so much, like I said, you don't want them to be like overly glamorous. And usually when I'm filming, I'll put on false eyelashes because I'm doing a talk show, I'm hosting a talk show. But just for the media presentation, you don't have to go to all that expense. You don't have to like, you know, do false eyelashes and everything else, but your eyes are important. So men, if you have dark circles under your eyes, you could also put a little light color there too. Okay, so now that takes care of your face. Anybody in the audience, because I can't see our beautiful viewers at home, have a question about what to do with your face? Yes? You're good, Mayron? Okay, okay. Allie, good? Everybody's good? Okay. So next, how to sit and how to stand. So we covered what to wear, your environment, how to do makeup on your face, now sitting or standing. Most interviews, I think we haven't really decided yet what we're going to do for the awards presentation, whether you're going to be sitting or whether you're going to be standing. But the camera will add 20 pounds to you. 20. They used to say 10. It's not, it's just like, right? So when I'm wearing this, you don't know, right? I recently lost 20 pounds. It's a big deal. I mean, I lost 20 pounds. So when you're sitting, gentlemen, you want to, if you're wearing a suit jacket, you're going to take the tail of your suit jacket and you're going to tuck it under your hiney. Same thing with women. If you're wearing a blazer, so when you sit down, that's what the newscasters do, so that you don't have those wrinkles on your shoulders, right? You want to have a nice, clean neckline and clean look without the wrinkles of the sleeves. You following me? Okay. So when you sit down, this is great because like they're here laughing. I hope you're laughing at home. So when you have a blazer and you're going to sit down for an interview, you want to just take your blazer and just tuck it under a couple of inches, and that will give you a squared off look. You want to sit with the best posture that you possibly can. So if I was actually doing an interview, which I will when we're sitting down, I'm not going to be sitting on the sofa like this. Why? Because to you at home, and you guys could probably see the difference, right? It's just like not that, it's just not pretty. You know, I just look like this big glob with a head. It's like, it's not pretty. So you want to have nice posture. So if I were going to take this and pretend like this is my blazer, right? And I should have told you, Ken, that I was going to stand, sorry. You're just going to sit nicely. You're going to have your posture as nice and straight as you can, okay? Even if you're going to sit up on the edge of the chair, it's fine. You don't have to sit back. Sometimes the director will tell you to sit back in the chair because you might be blocking, on a 3-camera shoot, your nose might be blocking somebody else's camera, but they'll tell you, they'll let you know, oh, just sit back a little bit. But even when you sit back, you're just gonna sit back, you're gonna think nice and tall, you're gonna pretend like you have a string tied to the top of your head that's pulling you up to the ceiling. Good? Make sense? Good, okay. So that's posture. Then you're going to, men and women, we all love to cross our legs. So that's okay. You can, they just all uncrossed them. They just all uncrossed them. If you're gonna cross, you wanna cross when you're on camera at your ankles. Why? Because depending on where the cameras are set, if you cross like you normally would cross, that also adds a lot of weight and a lot of bulk, right? So you want to be able to have people focus on your face and not all the extra stuff that's going on in the back, right? Get rid of the luggage in the back. Okay, so you want to not cross. Also, body language. It's just you know, common sense. And you guys, as real estate agents, all know that your body language really matters, right? So if you're doing a deal and you're like this, you know, your legs are the same thing. So I'm not saying, hey, it's open season, right? Okay, we're not talking about that kind of legs. We're just saying, put them, tuck them, they're laughing, tuck them in, right? Appropriately, either cross at your ankles, have your knees nice and tight like this, okay? Or if you're a gentleman, it's okay to have them, but you want to have them just a shoulder length apart, okay? No more than that. Just keep your body in alignment, and that way it's going to look pleasing. You do want to be noticed. What is important when you're doing media training, especially if you're filming something yourself, is that you don't want a crotch shot, right? So you want to make sure that your camera is placed just high above your head and tipped down, just a tiny bit tipped down, right? Or if you're doing a Zoom call, lift your computer up, even if you put books underneath it, so that when you're talking to somebody, you're talking to their face, and you don't have that like up the nose shot, you don't have too much headroom. It goes back to what I said earlier in the training, the rule of thirds, right? Boom, boom, boom. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, you guys are awesome. What a good class. You guys are awesome. Okay, it's just simple common sense stuff that probably nobody has told you because you never had to learn any of this, right? Okay, so you want to have nice shoulders, nice posture, keep your legs tucked in tight, sit up straight, and either cross at your ankles or don't cross at all. Now hands, what are you going to do with your hands? I'm Italian, right? I'm many things. I'm French, I'm a mutt. But your hands are okay. It's okay to express with your hands, right? They're okay. But if you're standing and doing an interview, I'm going to show you how to stand with them and what you do with your hands. Because I know, I was talking to Lula earlier today, and for a lot of people, they've never had media training before, so they just don't know. But with these tricks I'm teaching all of you, you're going to be pros, absolute pros. Okay, so standing. How do you stand for an interview? So when you stand for an interview, you're going to do what I call a Christmas tree stand. Okay, so the same way that you felt like that invisible string pulling your head straight up for you so you have nice posture, you're going to pretend like you have a magazine between your chest and your belly button. Okay, that's going to keep you, you know, if you want to suck it in a little bit, you can. You don't have to suck it in too much. But if you want to, you know, have those nice six-pack abs thing going on, but you're going to have a magazine. Hold on, you need me, Adam? Just making sure I'm doing okay. Is it going good? It's going good. Okay. So you're going to pretend like you have a magazine with that string, but your feet and your hands, you're going to put all your weight on your back leg as if you are a Christmas tree and you are planted firmly in the ground. Okay. So all your back weight. So I'm pretending now that the interviewer is here, and my foot my other foot, my free leg, is pointing to the camera. And all I'm simply going to do with my body is, instead of looking at the interviewer this way, right, and instead of being at the camera this way, what I'm doing is what I call a 3/4. So you're going to put your toe pointing to the interviewer, to the reporter. You're going to put all your weight in that back foot. You're going to plant yourself solidly down into the ground. That way you're not going to tip over. And you're going to put your front leg pointing to the camera. You're going to talk with your face to the interview, but see how this leg is to this camera? So it's not like this, and this shoulder is going to naturally go back. And my body language is open. I'm calm. I'm relaxed. My hands are at my waist. So, you know, or either you could put one hand here if you'd like, okay? But you don't need to, but if it helps you feel more comfortable, you can put your hand here. A lot of times you just want to keep your hands relaxed and just leave them down at your sides. Okay, you feel good? Okay, now by having this posture where my shoulder is open to the audience. And we can all practice that here. You guys can practice that at home. Why don't we do that real quick? Everybody stand up for just a second. Right? And how are we doing on time? I think we're probably at 32 minutes. Anybody watching the timing? 129. Okay, I was off by 2 minutes. Okay, so 132, 129. Okay, so when you're standing, okay, everybody put your weight in the back. You could stand at home if you want. Okay, good. All right, now pretend like I'm the camera. So you're gonna have the other toe pointed at me. Good, good. You see how that feels? Oh, you guys are good. Okay, that shoulder back a little. I have some fashionistas in the house. I guess you all know that because you all know each other. Okay, so now pretend like you're the reporter. So it's the same thing. Okay, so when you're doing something and you're holding a mic in your hand, always gonna have it in your back hand. Okay, away from the camera. A lot of times you'll be watching the news, and what is the reporters, because no one ever taught them, they have the mic in their front hand, and their arm is completely blocking the energy. So if you're the reporter and you're doing the interview, you're gonna simply go like this. You're gonna point the microphone directionally at the person's mouth, about like a fist or so away from their actual mouth, and point it at their chin. Too low, it's not good. And even yourself, if you're doing a presentation, right? You want to hold your microphone approximately about a fist away from your hand. Okay? Why? Right? Because microphones are made in such a way that they're directional, and certain mics are used for audio, video, but you don't know what type of mic you're going to be handed. They're just going to hand you a mic and they're going to be like, okay, go say something, right? So you always want to make sure that the mic isn't blocking your nose, it's not up at your head, but it's somewhere within this area so that you can comfortably relax, right? And now with social distancing, right? You also don't want someone like, too close to you. You don't want to be, maybe they have bad breath. Oh, that's the other thing. I did talk about whitening your teeth. It's always good to have a mint, right? Because if you're doing a talk show, it's like, halitosis, please, no, please make it stop. Okay, so that's about your stance. Now, do you guys feel comfortable? See, because you can pivot anywhere around, right? See how that feels? But if you didn't know how to stand, then you'd come right up to the reporter and you're just like standing and you don't know. But you're gonna be able to focus on what it is that you want to say and deliver by knowing that your body is in a good position. And you're gonna look great on camera. Good? Okay, you may sit down. Okay. Any questions about that so far? Good? Okay. Some of you guys are taking notes. You're taking notes. Okay, good. So if anybody wants notes, Allie is the person with the notes. There's always somebody in the class that takes excellent notes. Okay. Because we all learn different ways, so I'm trying to show in a variety of demonstrations through my voice, through my body, through having you guys stand up and do things, or whether you take notes, because we all learn differently. But I'm also available for any questions. So at the end of this, feel free to call me anytime and I'll help you. Okay, we did sit and stand. Okay, how to warm up your mouth. This happens to me a lot. So sometimes I will get tongue-tied. So I'm going to take a sip of water, once again without my label on my bottle. For longer interviews, anything longer than 15 minutes, have some water nearby. Okay, warming up your mouth. All right, so A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U, do the vowels. A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. You can even do the alphabet. You can sing the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. You want your instrument to feel so comfortable that when you say the things that you're going to say, which are important, your mouth is already warmed up. It's just like a car or anything else, right? Or when you exercise, they have you do like some exercises and you warm up first. You don't just all of a sudden lift and bench press 150 pounds, right? Maybe some of you do, but I'm not at that point yet, right? So I have to lift, warm up my muscles. Same thing. You could say your vowels. You could sing happy birthday. Do anything that gets you talking, because a lot of times we don't talk. We mostly listen, right? So I'm doing a lot of talking today, and you guys are all listening. But before I got here, I made sure that I, warmed it up, practiced a little bit. Also, you could practice in the mirror. Some of us are natural born show and tell people, and some of us aren't. So if you want, practice in a mirror. Barbra Streisand, that's what she would always do. She would practice in a mirror. I got that tip from her, not directly. I actually read it in a book when I was a kid, but I remembered it. But so she wanted to do voiceovers. So she would just take a piece of copy and she would just read it in the mirror and she would time it. She would time it for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. That's also media training. When you have to deliver something and it has to be timed, the best way to do it is to just read it out loud as many times as you possibly can. Let's say you're giving a presentation, right? It's another piece of media training and you have to deliver something. So this just says, dress for TV is just make sure that what you're wearing is consistent with what you're about and that you don't confuse people and that you don't distract people in a primary blah, 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 right? So if I was delivering that speech, I would practice it in front of the mirror just until I got really comfortable with it. Not so that it's canned, not so that it's like, you know, too much of a thing that just seems like, oh my gosh, please, you know, like, dress for TV is just made sure, you know, no, just be yourself. You know, you don't have to do any of that kind of craziness with voice modulation. So warming up your instrument is important, practicing in the mirror. Now, the next piece, this is important. So some of you at home might also want to write it down or type it into your phone. It's 4 letters, S-O-A-R, S-O-A-R, okay? So one of the things that during the awards presentation that you guys are going to do next week is that they're going to call upon you for you to share what made your life during a challenging year successful for you. What did you do in the pandemic that made you winners this year, right? So it's very simple if you use S-O-A-R. It's called a SOAR story. The situation was this. The objective was this. The action I took was this. And the result was this. Okay? And I can even use it for this on the studio. So the situation was the lower level of Chocolate Works was used for parties. But during the pandemic, they weren't doing parties. Their objective was to take that time and create a situation or a spin around that they could then utilize this space in a different way, right? So their situation, objective, the action they did is they called me and said, hey, we're thinking about building a studio. What do you think? Could you consult with us? I said, yes. And the result is we're sitting in a new studio. But you could do that with everything in life, right? The situation was I was hungry, right? My objective was to get food in my belly because I can hear Ken's tummy grumbling because he only had a Cliff Bar. The action I took was I went to the deli to get something and the result was is that my stomach is satisfied. So anybody here, would you mind volunteering just a quick little source story dealing with real estate this year? Anybody? One of my 4 contestants that are here. Allie, would you mind? Just because it helps. It helps if we can. Okay, go ahead. So Allie's talking, and if you can't hear at home, I will repeat what she says.
The situation was we were in a pandemic.
Situation was we were in a pandemic.
The objective was we needed to adapt to a new environment and a new way of technology.
So her objective was to adapt to a new way of doing business and using new technology.
The action we took was to continue doing, the action we took was to adapt to the new technology, use Zoom, use different tools like that, continue to lead generate in a caring way.
Okay.
The result is?
I think you guys could probably hear at home. And the result was she thrived. Great, awesome. So she took time to either learn Zoom or get educated about the technology, and the result was is that she thrived. Do you guys see how that kind of works? So you can use that for every single media, whether you're doing something in print or something in video or something in the radio, or even when you're selling real estate, even when you're doing a presentation and you're going to you're going in front of these new potential buyers or these new potential sellers, and you say, oh, you know what? During this situation, even though it's challenging and you now have to pre-qualify or whatever the challenge is, before we get to actually go into the home, we have all these pictures, we do a 360 tour. You know, you can just put the sellers and the buyers at ease using these same media training things, right? You're gonna dress, you're gonna have great posture, you're gonna greet them with good body language, you're going to maybe tell them about a success story that you've recently had without naming any names. You're gonna say, oh, you know what, it was so nice to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, or Mrs. and Mrs. Brown, or Mr. and Mr. Brown, whatever the case is. So when you're greeting them, right? You could tell them, be like, oh, this reminds me of, you know, what a wonderful family story you have. This reminds me of, and then feel free to brag about a success that you just had. Oh, I'm so excited. I just took this great phone call and I was just able to deliver the keys to this new family, or whatever is truthful. Never brag about anything that's not truthful, right? It's going to bite you in the butt. But if you think about a situation objective, an action and result that's going to put either your seller or your buyer at ease without saying, well, I just sold a house that was like $9 million. Okay, yeah, so what, right? Talk about the essence of that deal. Talk about the joy of that, because people want stories that are relatable. So we are helping you take facts and create what they call sound bites. We're making a sound bite, right? So you're going to take those bullet point things of those two things that they asked you. And the other question that they want you to share next week is, YKW Elite. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we might even have fancy music there. Okay, so YKW Elite. Why? There's got to be a reason, because you all are successful and brilliant and amazing people, and you could be working anywhere. But what they want you to do is share your success at why you made this decision. And if you don't want to be part of our team anymore, there's a door, right? Right? Right. Either if you're going to be in it to win it and you're one of us, awesome. And we want to know why it's joyful to be part of this team, okay? Because we want other people like you to find the joy in it, and it's a celebration next week. Okay, so everybody understand that? Practicing in the mirrors, we're just gonna go over. Okay, so we know what to wear, we know how to do our makeup, we know how to sit, how to stand, practicing and warming up our instrument. We know a source story, situation, objective, action, and result. Okay, the next thing is relax. After all I've told you, nothing here seems like it's brain surgery, right? No, no. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying the journey. It's about celebrating life. It's about just taking a moment to breathe about all that you've come through during this year or even through your whole life. And we all face a lot of challenges. And taking that opportunity to just relax and breathe and pat yourself on the back and feed yourself well, right? Just relax. It's supposed to be fun. And I promise you, if you live to be 100 years old and we look back on this day of 2020 and 2021, what's the one thing that we're going to remember? We made it. We made it, right? And some of us unfortunately did it. And we have to keep that in mind too. We have to always show respect, right? Because different people, just like your different sellers and buyers, they're going through a lot of crap. Maybe they got divorced. Maybe they lost a child. There's so many things that happen on our everyday journey, but during a media experience, when you get to be interviewed by somebody, take that 10 minutes and just enjoy yourself, right? Or when you're in the pool and you're able to take a lap, right? There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for tears, and we could do them in the shower, right? There's a time and a place to be respectful and to be kind and to be empathetic. But this media training is the opportunity, like even when you're a kid and you get to do show and tell, it's your giving yourself a permission slip to have a good time. And the gift that you're giving yourself is the ability to connect and relate to somebody on the other end, to our friends at home, so that they can, just for 10 minutes, relax and celebrate life and joy, right? So sometimes people say, oh my God, Donna Drake, she's always so nice. Oh, she's so always fake and phony. Oh, she's always so positive. Like, people just want to like sometimes throw up when they meet me, right? But I'm genuinely, Lila's laughing, but I'm genuinely like this most of the time. It's a choice. You know, my spouse died from colon cancer. My mom died when I was pregnant with my first child. I've been through so many things. I've had $500,000 in the bank and I've had $1.97. I'm not kidding. When I stuck my ATM credit card in, my debit card, $1.97, right? We all go through things. But what I am here to tell you about is that media and media training and enjoying it as an experience and something that you don't dread, it's okay. Write yourself a permission slip. I'm giving myself a permission slip that during times when I'm interviewed, instead of feeling all nervous, I'm gonna give myself permission to relax and have fun, okay? Allie's taking a deep breath, right? Instead of being, right, how can you be comfortable? You take some of these tips, you don't have to be perfect. Maybe you won't do everything that I've taught you today. If you do some of it, great. But I will tell you that giving yourself permission to relax and have fun, guess what the result's gonna be? You're gonna relax, you're gonna have fun. And then I want you to call me and I want you to say, that's the best thing I've ever done. I had so much fun during my interview. Okay, you don't have to, but if you want to, it's okay. Okay, converting a message into a soundbite. Okie dokie. So this is the part where a lot of people make a mistake or maybe things aren't as successful. And I think I have about 10 minutes left. Am I right, Gigi?
A little over 10 minutes.
A little over 10 minutes left. Okay, good. So now because I've done this so long, I customized this presentation for you. I've never delivered it in the same way. I don't do that. I don't do anything cookie cutter in my life because why waste your time, right? I purposely put this all together just for KW Elite and just for the things that you might be facing in life. So how to take a bullet point and make it into a conversation. So SOAR, S-O-A-R. And the other thing is don't try to put 5 pounds of flour in a cup, right? Less is more. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Keep it simple. That's another acronym, K-I-S-S. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your bullet point, okay? And you're going to then phrase it as a statement. So if the reporter says to you, right, oh, so tell me why it is that you are at KW Elite. Rephrase it. I chose KW Elite. What I love best about KW Elite, what I value most about my relationship with KW Elite is. So take what that reporter says and rephrase that bullet point because you know what your answer is, right? But you want to phrase it in such a way that it's conversational and then it just comes off the tip of your tongue. Any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward, but you see what the difference is? By rephrasing what that person just said to you, it also gives you time to think. 3 weeks ago, I was interviewed, and it was an hour-long thing about me, and I was like, ooh, I'm kind of shy, right? A lot of people don't know that I have a shy side. And I'm like, so he asked me one question that kind of stumps me. A lot of times people ask me this. They'll be like, oh, who was your favorite celebrity that you interviewed? Or what was your favorite? And I have 8 or 9 different favorites. It's like I have 3 children. I can't pick a favorite. I love them all the same, right? And the same are with the celebrities I've interviewed and the everyday heroes that I've interviewed. So when somebody gives you a question that could give you that 5-pound answer and you're trying to fit it into a cup, it's okay to take a moment to breathe. Sometimes I'll say, oh, that was an interesting question. Or you caught me off guard. Or I'll just be honest. I'll be, well, like usually I'm the one asking the questions. Let me think on that for a moment. Or I'll say, I have several favorites. Just give me a moment, right? That's okay. Just take a pregnant pause, right? A pregnant pause is a pause, but it's just like a little longer, like 9 months. So just take maybe 9 seconds and just, once again, deep breath. Remember your imaginary string. You've got great posture. You look good, right? And just say, oh, I can answer that question. Because the reporter isn't trying to stump you, usually. It's usually not an abrasive situation where they're trying to make you look bad, at least not when people come on my show. I want them to look great. They're just asking questions because they're getting to know you, right? And if I asked you guys this morning what you had for breakfast, at our age, would any of you remember? Who remembers? Raise their hand. Anybody remember what they had for breakfast? 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you didn't eat breakfast. Okay. Paula, you raising your hand over there? Okay, yeah, okay, she knows what she had for breakfast. But some people might not because they're living such a busy day, or maybe they didn't have breakfast. They're like, oh no, I didn't have breakfast. Should I make up an idea? Should I have breakfast? What did I have for breakfast? And they start panicking. They're panicking because they don't know the answer to the question because they just might not have an answer to the question. So you could always come up with a little solution, and that is this. You simply say, oh, thank you for asking that question. And then you pull a magic rabbit out of your hat. What is that? Or out of your bottom, no. So what is that? You're going to use your SOAR story, S-O-A-R, right? It could be the most random, craziest thing, but if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it, you could say, oh, I hadn't considered that. However, this, politicians do it all the time, right? How many times do you see somebody not answer a question that somebody asks them to answer? But you can do it in such a way that brings value to you and to the audience. So if somebody asked me what I had for breakfast, I'd be like, oh, you know, I didn't have it today, but my favorite breakfast is blah. I answered the question. I didn't lie. I answered it truthfully, but I had something magic in the back. And as real estate agents, you'll always have a little piece of magic in the back, you know? It could be something like this. Why did you become a real estate agent, right? Why? What was the first house that you sold? Remember that answer. How did it feel the first time you were able to turn the key into a property that you perhaps bought? There's always going to be a relatable story. And if you have maybe 2 or 3 of those in your back pocket, then you'll never feel like you're stumped. Make sense? Yes? Make sense? Good? Makes sense? Yes, yes. And to you at home, I'm going to say, yes, it makes sense. So those are the basic things. The most important things. How to phrase bullet points into sound bites. How to not try to overexpand on something. How to keep things short, nice, and tight. And feel free to use visual aids. When you are doing a presentation, a good media tip is to have a nice visual aid. Maybe it's your favorite pen that you bring with you. Maybe it's to be like, oh, you know, I just got this new Mont Blanc or whatever. Or maybe it's something fun, like maybe you always carry something on your backpack, right? Or maybe it's just you draw your favorite emoji and you stick that in your back pocket. Something that's a personal effect of yours that you can bring with you that's going to give you confidence and make you feel relaxed. So with that being said, any questions? Because I think we have like 4 minutes for questions. Yes?
I have to say something.
Yes?
My phone has been having issues. I'm very embarrassed as my phone keeps going off.
His phone keeps going off?
I keep silencing it and
Right.
it has issues. The sound's not shutting off, so maybe somebody could help me with that.
Okay. There you go. I think I can help you.
I didn't want to be rude. My phone does keep
Oh, no, I just thought it was like you're like $1 million broker and you're like, you know, hey, take those calls.
Because I silenced it when I got here and it keeps on going off. I don't know what's going on with it.
It does happen. You might need to just like completely shut it off and like
Yeah, like
reboot.
just throw it
Do the
out.
reboot. I like that question. It's a good question. Any other questions
Cool.
or thoughts? Lula, you have any thoughts or?
Suzanne would like you to go over to makeup again after the lipstick part.
Sure. Okay. It's head and shoulders, knees and toes, right? Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Okay. So your entire body is a canvas. So the way that you're going to be wearing your clothing, right? So we're not going to wear anything that's too sparkly. We're not going to wear thin layers. Sometimes it's also nice to have a collar. Like I didn't wear a collar, but Ken knows how to mic me, so he just mic'd it here. But if you have a collar, it's easier for you to be mic'd. In terms of makeup, your face, there's 7 planes to your face. I know this because I went to art school. Your eyes are actually like, if you look at this circle, they're almost kind of like center. And then your nose is like center between your eyes and your lips. Most people, when they draw a face, they draw your eyes way up here, but they're not. They're actually more centered, right? And your ears, same thing. If you draw a line from your eye to your ear, your lips to the bottom of your ear, that's basically the proportions of your face. When you're on television, your face is flatter. And you don't want it to be flat because you want the person and the audience at home to be engaged with what you have to say, like that they're hanging on every word. So after lipstick. So what I usually do is I either brush my teeth or I use a Crest white strip so that my teeth are white. And I use some sort of color, but not gloss. You won't really see me wearing a lot of lip gloss, maybe just a tiny bit, right? On maybe my lower lip. So you want to do some color on your lip, especially during winter, because lips end up being your skin tone. I don't know if you've ever noticed that during winter for some reason. During the summer and the spring, they have, maybe it's the way that the light reflects, I don't know, from the sun. Put some color on your lip. Now, contouring. I was in a car accident. I know that where my ears are supposed to be is over my shoulder. It's not that I have a double chin, although I did before I lost 17 pounds. But where your ear carriage is on your jawline. And on television, if you could just take brown or like some sort of a darker foundation color, right? And it doesn't matter if you want to use liquid or powder or whatever, but I will usually put a little bit of brown here, a little bit of brown here, a little bit of brown here, because it will create a shadow. So when someone's looking at you, you look like you've got this nice chiseled jaw, whether you're a female or a male, doesn't matter, right? So that will help you with that. I take a little bit of brown and I put it underneath my nose because then because for me, one of my unfavorite features is that I think my nose is a little big. I'm Italian, I own it now, it's okay, it goes with my face. But at one time, so I always try to tuck that up a little bit. Bright teeth, a little color on your lips, shadow under your nose, a little bit of shadow under here, a nice lighter color on the top of your eyes. Even for men, if you can take just, even if it's white eyeshadow, but not the glossy kind, no glitter, right? Pop, 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 tip, 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 right? And I think that will probably answer what the question was about contouring your face. So a little darker on your neck, nice bright eyes, some mascara, even for men if you want, a little bit of a darker eyebrow. It's not gonna be like the way that you would look when you, like I said, go to the grocery store. It's a little heavier, a little thicker. It's more like theater type of makeup, but the camera will love you, and it's just a few little tips to help you look your best when you're doing something with media. Lula, did that answer Suzanne's question?
I believe, yes,
Okay.
she said yes.
Yay! Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So can we put like gel in our hair or stuff like that?
So your natural texture of your hair, do you usually style it with some sort of a gel?
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's how, because different people have different textures. Like I said, mine's really thin, so I always have to do eyeshadow. If you normally wear your hair with a little bit of styling gel, totally fine. What I'm talking about is when you are adding, like especially for women, sometimes when you go out dancing and you want that little like glimmer shine, or you're using a hairspray or a product that has like glitter in it, so no glitter. So if you need a little product, you know, maybe not maybe not oily slick back kind of hair, but gel is fine. It's a good question. And if you're bald, it's okay. We love you. Just a little bit of powder on that shine. Anything else? Anything else from our gallery at home?
We're good.
We're complete?
Nope.
Yes?
No other questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is Donna Drake for KW Elite signing off from Tied In Studios. Be well and happy journeys. Bye. Oh, thanks. I got applause. Thanks, guys. Bye.